I don't know how many takes I've taken to finally arrive here. So this morning I tried recording in the living room like I usually do. And I had this anxiety that I was away from my baby for too long and also just worrying that he's going to wake up. But my husband was in the room and watching him, but still. I recorded an entire episode for my Faith Friday video, but I wasn't happy about it. I just felt like I was rushing through it and he woke up, right? So I came and did bath time, bathed him, fed him, put him down to sleep. And then as I was putting him down to sleep, I was trying to figure out how am I going to do this, right? I can't clearly do things the way I did them before. And I need to re-strategize and think about how am I going to do this. And yes, this is a bit of milk from having burping him a couple of minutes ago. So thinking about that to say how we're gonna do this, and I'm just walking around my nursery and I'm like, yes, I'm actually going to do it in this room. So I'm set up nicely behind his lovely chest of drawer that we got from his grandma. And I will be recording my videos here for the next 2 months until I come out of my confinement, because literally like I'm in the room with my baby the whole day. So the moments where he's sleeping, I am going to use the time to recharge and record some of my content, more for me as mommy, to kind of just stay connected to what I love. And happy mommy means happy little man. But otherwise, that is my check-in and sound check for this video. Hi and happy Sunday. But hi there and welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope you have been keeping well. I have been gone for 10 whole months and I come back. So exciting, so excited. So given that I am recording in my nursery, I am just going to be talking in a muted tone. So don't mind the energy. It doesn't mean I'm not excited about what I'll be talking about. Because I am in a very big way. And I went ahead and went to pull out one of my wigs to kind of just look cute for today's recording. But let me just take a moment to I was telling my cousin the other day that I'm feeling a bit nervous coming back on here, but excited. So a moment to Wisa and say hi to everyone. Hi there and welcome to my YouTube channel. The name is Gorata.Selaledi. Let me also just move back on the chair. Yes, my name is Gorata.Selaledi. I'm a faith-based content creator and I create content on faith, productivity and purpose, and I'm so excited to be back here. If you are new to this space, please do click on the subscription button. New videos coming soon, including this video. I create content on the Word, Bible study, and also I create coaching videos or coaching courses through my coaching business, Storage Consulting. And I guess it's important for me to lay that foundation because I have been gone for 10 whole months and I'm coming back. And today's video is really centered around reflecting on me having had left and why I stepped away for 10 months, right? And also what the digital detox taught me. So let's get into it. So why did I step away? Just to jump into it, not waste any time. I think it was around the 2nd of January 2025. I woke up that morning and we were traveling back from Cape Town, me and my husband. So in Joburg, waking up that morning and I'm just there like, I think I want a break, or I need a break, because I'm just thinking when the year begins, it's like you think about everything, like new year, new goals. And for me as a coach, you think about what content are you going to be putting out for people, what coaching programs are you going to be putting out, and I think my mind was, where a heater is frying. That's how my mind felt, thinking about the whole year from that perspective. So I decided, nope, I don't want that burnout. I'm going to delete all platforms that I've been creating for. So that was YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. Facebook, not so much. I just go there to read the news. But yeah, I decided, you know what? I'm taking a break because I realized I was creating a lot of content for all the platforms, and I was exhausted, literally burnt out. And I realized that I was creating from a place of stress. There's a statement that I'm going to share at the end that I want to share at the beginning, that I was creating from a place of not from a place of peace, but from a place of pressure. And that weighed down heavily on my mental state, and I just felt like I didn't want that for 2025. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, I decided. And I remember I told my husband laughed at me, I will be honest, because I've had moments where I wanted to do this so many times, I will tell you that. And every single time I'll do it, like I'll delete the apps for like 5 days, 3 days, and then I'll come back, right? And he laughed, and I was like, you know what, it's okay, because there's just so much conviction this time around, and I was just gone, right? So for YouTube, I did leave a note to say I'll be back in December, so that kind of just extended into the year. And then Instagram, LinkedIn, them, I kind of just disappeared. I didn't say goodbye, I didn't say, hey, going on the detox, just left. And then I just came back. So I was away for almost 10 months. And surprisingly, the month where I decided to take that break and say deuces to social media and the algorithm, we found out that we were expecting. So exciting. Such an exciting time. And I think every time I look back, it's like, if someone looks at the year, you'd think she took a break because she was pregnant, but that was not the reason. The decision came before finding out that I was expecting. And my aunt made fun of me the other day, saying, I'm so glad that you're back to pre-pregnancy, right? Because clearly your son hates social media. And pretty much for the reason that during my pregnancy, I was off socials completely. And I'm grateful for that, because I will share, I think, in other videos how my journey was. It would have been nice to document the whole process, but we are here now. And it's just a thing of having had lived through the 9 months without posting and sharing and oversharing. I'm grateful for it. I'm just going to get up to just adjust them quickly. I'll be back. Like literally, if you look up newborn content on TikTok, you'll see that newborns will fuss and make it seem as though they're not okay. And then when you get up to go to them, they're quiet. That's what he just did. But anyways, I'm grateful that I took the break. I will say this is part of the intro. Grateful that I took the break because of the season that I entered into. Having had been pregnant for the 9 months, I will make a separate video to talk about my pregnancy, probably in the coming week or weeks, and share my story. But like I said, I stepped away because I was burnt out. And interestingly enough, I was thinking about the book that I am yet still to write, which is titled A New Algorithm Rooted in God. Thinking about it now, I look back and I feel that I wanted to write the book this year, publish it in October, but God had other plans, because I literally lived through the book, if I was to put it as such. I don't know if that makes sense, where I've disconnected from all the algorithms and I've reconnected to God and spending time in the silence, right? And what are the lessons that I've learned from this detox in the next clip? So I'm grateful that I've made it this far in terms of recording, because in the morning, like I couldn't find a rhythm, but we're here, and I'm so excited because I'm going to be sharing the lessons that I've learned and changes, I think, and how I'll be returning differently. We'll see about the changes. I don't think I'm going to include that. But what are the lessons that this girlie has learned from being away for 10 months, right? What I've learned is that stillness is sacred. I learned to stop performing and start being. I got so much validation from my LinkedIn, and my Instagram not so much, but from my LinkedIn in terms of the growth of my page. I posted every day. I had a newsletter, and my followers were increasing. I think by the time I left, I was at 10,000 followers, and there was just so much validation and satisfaction from that. I guess the dopamine in all of that. But then I realized that it was now becoming like I was working for the algorithm in a sense, and I was tired, But then in letting go of all of that, I learned that there's just so much sacredness in just being still, because in creating for all the platforms, there's just so much noise all the time, so much chatter, like, oh, what artwork can I create? What is the next course I'm going to do? What is the next? What is the next? What is the next? So in allowing my mind to be still, there's just a peace that came from it for me personally. And then the second lesson is that real connection happens offline. I think being offline, like, this is the key takeaway for anyone who's looking to do a detox. Being offline is such a luxury. It's just so tasty. It just feels like, I felt like I was a rich woman, rich billionaire who doesn't bother to post on social media. That's how I felt, But I think looking back, it's like what I've missed out on as that rich woman is documenting and taking videos and pictures during that time. It's like my system was just being literally detoxed. So I was very hesitant to take videos, very hesitant to take pictures, but I'm so grateful to be back. And in this new chapter of being a mom, I'm taking so many pictures of my son, so many videos offline that I'm keeping for myself, right? But what I noted down is to say deeper relationships, as my mind wasn't always on, right? So even in listening to people, I'm not listening, partly thinking about what I'm going to post, partly thinking about, oh, how does this moment going to look like in a post, and right? And the third lesson that I've noted down is that God speaks in quiet places, right? I feel like just generally scrolling and doom scrolling is it's intended to bring noise into your mind, and not necessarily terrible noise, because there's great content out there. But if you're always connected, it's like you miss out on that moment to hear from God, right? And in being away from those struts for the 10 months, I tapped into a new form of stillness where I have been able to hear from God personally, from reading the word, from praying, and just getting to a place where I connect with God at a personal level, and in a very different way compared to the previous year. Because I think even in creating faith-based content, sometimes it's like, are you reading for the content, or are you reading for yourself? And having had been away for the time that I was able to get to a place where I am reading for my spirit man, and not necessarily for a post or a video I'm going to record. And in that came clarity and conviction in who this God is to me in the silence. And I also noted that purpose isn't built on algorithms. Purpose isn't built on algorithms. I noted that my identity is not tied to productivity and engagement, and that is something that had to die. I remember the word idolatry coming into my mind when I made it through the first month of being offline, and it's like I had put these things on a pedestal in a sense, and in terms of worship, the time I was putting in, the energy I was putting in was even more than I did to God. So I think in stepping away from all of that, I'm realizing that almost I lost myself in that, in worshiping and misdirecting my energies, and hence in all of that losing my identity, because I was now tying my identity to those things. And the last point that I noted is that there's less noise and more discernment. So I've noted down that in being away for the 10 months, I started learning to hear what truly matters, right? And I think personally for me, what I've picked up from the past 10 months is how my ministry is going to be through family. And I remember when I was in university saying this to my friend Ceci, saying that I feel I'm going to be a matriarch in my family, right? So from me, by the time I'm a grandma, I'm going to have children and great. I'm going to have my children. They're going to have their children. Their children are going to have their children. I'm going to live long to see all of that come to pass, right? And I think in thinking about that grand scheme, it kind of just changes how I show up, in terms of Bible study. It changes how I show up as well in terms of the way I pray, right? And what I'm praying for in this season, right? So the last part of this video, I am going to just be reflecting on how I am going to be, I'd say, navigating this season. Today was a true test, but let's go into that clip. I was saying to my husband earlier that before having our son, I used to batch create my content in a day, right? So in the morning, I'd wake up for like 2 hours. I'd be able to create the 3 videos that I put out every week. And today, in waking up, I think even yesterday, preparing to come into it, I thought that I'd be able to create the same way, right? And that expectation was crushed in the morning very quickly. And then having to come to a place of adjustment and allowing myself to think of how to transition into this new place and how to still be able to create meaningfully, right? And hence the new setup. So what I noted down is that there was a bigger spiritual lesson in stepping away from socials. To say that I shared too much, oversharing on too many platforms. And I think from a spiritual perspective is that I've learned now to know when just to be and to keep my mouth shut and stop oversharing with every person that I meet, even I would say on the different platforms that I share, right? And I think that just deserves a different session in terms of oversharing, because wow, what is the validation that we need from having to overshare with everyone and anyone that we meet in our DMs. And then lastly, I noted down that honestly I am grateful for the reset and how I'll be creating from a place of peace and not of pressure. And I think coming to the end of today's video, I'm a bit nervous about the editing process because I'm going to have to do that and put it out today. And actually, I didn't finish the thought earlier to say what I was saying to my husband was, because I batch created, now I have to just create my video the day that I am publishing it, right? Because wow. But otherwise, I want to take this time to thank you for clicking on this video and watching it to the very end. If you have any questions, comments, please do leave it in the comment section. And so excited. I will see you tomorrow. I pray that may God's favor locate you and may His grace sustain you as you live out this new week. I hope you enjoyed my little yap session. I don't know how to apply makeup or anything, and also on my confinement, don't mind the wig. So I can't be applying product on my face like that. That was yap. Otherwise, have an amazing week. Thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you, and see you tomorrow.